and start. So streaming is starting again. Back in construct, we last left off that having when the enemies are created, the system will wait randomly 5 to 8 seconds and then destroy the enemies. And I gave you the challenge of working and creating some particles. So here's a shortcut for creating it. Rather than going through the process and setting all those numbers again, I'm going to right click and choose clone object type. And now the system makes white particles too. Return of the particles, for a movie title. We're going to go home. I'm just going to change this to black particles. And I'm going to go and change the actual color of this to the 50-50-50 off black color. And I'm going to drop that in there. So now I've got black particles that will work and appear on the screen. I'm going to move these off the layer now. But I want to change a couple of things on the actual black particle settings. I want to lower the rate down so that these are smaller. So I'm going to lower it down to 150. And I'm also going to bring the speed of the particles down to, let's do the rate down to 50 and see where that goes. And on the event sheet, I'm going to say I want a new event. When the enemies are destroyed, the enemies should spawn another object. So enemies on destroyed. And then I want to have the enemies spawn another object. And that other object is going to be black particles on the layer. I have to type in the quote here to get this auto selection to choose. I can leave the image point at 0. And now let's run it and see what it looks like. So I probably already have it running. Here's my game. Things are starting. I can start collecting things. And then my particles are kind of destroying as they go through, and it kind of clears up a path for me to travel through. And we can keep going from there. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to add in here, I want to go through and I want to add a event that waits and limits the amount of time the collectibles will stay out there. Because I kind of am leaving it running right now on purpose to show you something that goes on in the game. So if I come back to here, I now have tons of collectibles on the screen, right? I'm getting more and more every time, but they should time out. Eventually they should disappear so I don't have like this ability to go and collect a bunch of these things at once. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a code that's going to be very similar to this enemies on created, wait, and then destroy. We're going to add an event on here for collectible on created. I'm going to go back to the system, wait, and I'm going to say wait 7 seconds. And then the action we're going to say here is collectible destroy. So what that event is going to do is it's going to make it so that they don't just sort of stay out on the screen forever. I've got a limited amount of time to try and get to them. So let's take a look and see what that looks like now if we rerun this. So now my collectible should spawn every 2 seconds. But if I wait too long, that one up on the top is going to disappear. I did it right. I did. And then, oh, well, it's destroying with the piece, even though I'm not collecting it. All right, we'll work on that after. But this is actually looking pretty good. What we'll try next is we'll start organizing some of these things here, because we've got a bunch of events now. We've got an every tick. We've got is overlapping on destroyed. We're going to start putting things together. So there's collectible on destroyed. There's collectible. I'm going to move this whole event up here to match it. So this is kind of here on created, on destroyed. Then I've got enemies on created, on destroyed. I'm going to move those. I'm going to leave those where they are here. So I've got my every tick, which happens first. Touch happens second. Overlapping happens next. Collectibles created, collectibles destroyed. My spawners for that. And I could start going through and adding groups in here. So if I wanted to, I could add a group. This would be for enemy spawn. So right now, here's my enemy. Carlos will be with you in a second. There's my enemy spawn. I could make all these spawn things sub-events of the enemy spawn. Okay? So now, rather than having to have all those out there, I've got my enemy spawn events inside here. I could do my enemy spawn events, add these on created, on destroyed for the enemies. And then I could make another one for collectibles. So I'm pressing G to make a new group. Collectibles, I made another group for collectibles. I actually probably made it inside enemy spawn. I'm going to move it out of enemy spawn, move it down over below, and then I'm going to move this collectibles on created inside here. I'm going to move this one on destroyed inside here, and I'm going to move this one here. So now I'm just kind of organizing what's happening here in my code. So I can see enemy spawn is keeping everything together. Collectibles is keeping everything together. We have that there. Carlos, what's up? Whenever you run it, it comes out like this. So then you missed a step somewhere. What's going on? Is it really skinny? Go and check your window sizes. Check your layout sizes. Make sure they're right. So, one of the things that I want to do here is I don't like the gameplay of the little particles showing up when the collectibles destroy, but they destroy from timeout and not from me actually collecting them. I only want that like fanfare when I'm actually collecting it. So what we're going to do is we're going to find that is overlapping or on destroyed, and we're going to add in another condition here. So I'm going to right click, choose add another condition, and it's going to be player is overlapping another object, and the other object happens to be the collectible. Okay? So what's going to happen here? Now the collectible is going to be destroyed. It's going to when it's destroyed, it's going to spawn white particles, but only when the player is overlapping. So now if I rerun this here, that one up on the top, I'm going to watch, and in 5 to 8 seconds, it's going to time out, and it's just going to disappear. I only get the funfetti when I actually collect them. If I miss out, I don't get it. So we added that one here, but now we've got to start thinking about what's going to be the goal for this project. So the way we did goals for the last one, as we went and we added in some text. So on the layout, we're going to go through, we're going to find our text block. I'm going to make it here right on the player layer. And we have text that's going to be here. It's going to be score 0 starting off. I'm going to set the size to be much bigger. And now I can't see it anymore because my text box for this is kind of small. I'm going to make it really, really big. Have it stretch across this part right here. But I'm going to adjust the color to be my off-white. So I'm going to go to Other for the color, Custom. For the red, green, blue, it's going to be that 250, 250, 250. And so there's my color. For the alignment, I'm going to go center, center, for the hotspot. So we have that one there. So center, center, and hotspot. So now I can have my score kind of keeping track here. I'm going to adjust the size of it so that it fits in. And so now the score will just be counted along the bottom. Right now this is just called text. So I'm going to change the name of it to TXT score. I have that. Font, you can change the font whatever we want. And the only thing that I want to change here is the opacity. I want to lower this to like 75%, 80%, somewhere around there. So it's just kind of a little bit there. And then I'm going to right-click Z order. And I'm going to send this to the bottom of the layer so that things can spawn on top of the score. and we can actually have the score update as we go through. So what do we have for events here? We have an event that we're going to add on here. What do I want to do here? Do I want to add, did I add in my score? I'm losing my focus here. So we already started destroying our collectibles after, or we started destroying our enemies after a certain amount of time. I want to go to this on destroyed and overlapping. I want to add another action here. The action we're going to do is for the system. It's going to be add 2, and we're going to add 1 to the score. So every time we hit a collectible and destroy it, we're going to add 1 to the score. And then back up on every tick, way up at the top, we're going to add an action to the text score, and we're going to say set text. And the text we're going to have is going to be the word score, colon, space, with quotes around it. Then I'm going to use an ampersand to join it with the variable score. And my little global sign shows me that it's there. So now as I go and test this now, we can see our score is actually going to start to add up 2. Ooh, I got 2, 4, 6, 8. It's going up by 2, 10, 12. I have to look and see what I actually did to actually add 1 to score. Is overlapping collectible, add 1 to score. Oh, I have already have that up there, add 1 to score. So on destroyed, I add another 1 to score. I'm going to delete that. So I just needed the system set text to score and score on every tick. Okay? So we got done now some of the gameplay mechanics. So there's some spawning going on. We can go around and collect things. If we can't get around, like right now I'm dodging things I don't need to. We don't have code for when it interacts with the other things. We'll get there. We'll probably do that tomorrow, figure out what's going to happen when the block hits into one of these rotating enemies or one of the moving enemies. So right now it's just kind of updating the score as we move around and play. And that's where I'm going to stop it. Yeah.